All right. Today it's going to be Windows Utility Update in Swearing Windows. And then I've got a special project on the way. That special project is going to be creation of a home page of all things. And the home page is going to be mostly like a curated news feed that I like, a search, because every homepage needs a search, and like maybe Reddit and like a breakdown of like recent YouTube videos that I want to watch. I saw a cool project called Glance we might go over as well. So that's going to be later in the stream. First up, though, we got a ton of PRs on WinUtil that we got to get into, look at. It's been a while since I booted into this version of Windows. So like everything has to be updated. Everything. Happy Thursday, 3A. Man, what is this? Sure. Let's just install all that garbage. I don't know what it is about Windows, but it just annoys me, you know?
The dude abides.
Dragon Skies, thanks for the sub, man. 21 months, damn, almost 2 years now. That's crazy. Craziness. The one dude, Chris, how's it going? Oh, pretty good, man. Pretty good. Oh, man. That one dude. I actually been playing a game. This kind of reminds me. It's Final Fantasy 11. I don't know. I like playing really old games now. I just can't play anything new. But anyways, I was playing this last night, and we were grouping up with some party members, and oh my god, I had this guy. His dude. His name was Dude WTF, and I was the main tank. We were pulling everything, and Odyssey is like in-game content for Final Fantasy 11. And this dude was such an elitist. He was like, I can't believe you're not pulling everything. And I was like, dude, I have a life, okay? I'm not best in slot and everything, okay? So we're going to just pick and choose. And he's like, I can't believe this. Filthy casuals. You should have shown on the shout that it was casual. And I was like, dang, man, just enjoy the game, you know? It doesn't have you don't have to treat it like a job, bro. Just enjoy everybody's company. And then he just like warped out. He's like, I'm out of here. I can't deal with this. It was pretty funny. Anyways, yeah, I just saw and that's what reminded me with that name. Oh man. Good morning, bud. How's it going? Coding wonders. Coding, we got some big PRs we got to do today. An old Windows utility. WinUtility. Oh god, I think it's signed out of my Google account actually. And it's signed out of my jeez. When was the last time I booted into this system? Fireword. I don't think that should prompt for a restart, so but it is Windows. Anytime it could be any restart. All right, let's sign into old GitHub, the old Gits of the hub, and get through this two-factor. Old two-factor. Gotta love some two-factor. Hardware key two-factor is the best. All right, so now we're signed in. Pull request 24. My word. All right, before we get going, did that update for PowerShell go through? I did see that. So we will want the latest. It is still pending. Let's wait for that. Let's chat for a little bit while that goes through. Chrome over Firefox Brave. Trying to figure out which to run. Brave is pretty good. I think a lot of people like Brave. Oh man, I remember when Midori used to be super lightweight and it was like its own thing. But now I think Midori is a fork of Chrome. So let me check. I always liked Midori browser for it being lightweight. Browser. I haven't looked at it in a minute though. Let's take a look at old Midori. Damn it. My ADD's getting to me. God bless. Come on, man. This is going so slow. Blind. So bright. Is there dark mode? I don't know if I could trust a browser landing page with this much white. It's too much white. I can't. Oh. Yikes. Oh. Awful. I don't think I can trust him just because of the webpage design. I know that sounds silly, but no dark mode? I don't know. I don't know. But yes, I did try Midori back in the day, and it was pretty lightweight, so it was good for that. But it is a Chrome fork, and I'm kind of curious. Ah, bless. What an awful design. Just atrocious. Yeah. Maybe I'll give it a shot here in a bit. There's still GPL, so it's doable, I guess. All right, cool. Yeah. Brave is the GOAT. Problem I have with Brave is it's a super shady company. You know? Like, don't get me wrong. There's no real great options when it comes to browsers, and I've done that rant a bunch. But the problem I have with Brave is this. One, they have an awful track record of just doing super shady shit. Specifically, replacing link trackers. Like, oh, I'm going to this website. Brave just added in its affiliate links directly so it would get paid. It also has a very shady history around the BAT token and crypto. And there's a lot of, love it, hate crypto, whatever. I don't care so much of the politics of it. It's just they've done some very shady things with crypto specifically. I don't know if the SEC ever got involved with them and how they have a registered security or not registered. It's just so new in that realm. I've actually been paid in BAT. I've made thousands of dollars with Brave. Don't get me wrong. When they had an affiliate program, I think I was pulling down almost $1,000 in crypto a month from BAT. So don't take this as, crypto bad. Trust me, I'm like cool all about it, right? But how they do it is just a little weird. And I just can't trust them at all. Like, so bad that from just a gut feeling, I would trust Google more than I would trust Brave as a corporation. And that's really saying something. That's a pretty low bar. And that's why I just don't use Brave. Now, having said that, from just a technical perspective and just stripping down Brave, getting rid of all the, Brave rewards and all that crap, and just using it as a browser, it is a better experience than Chrome. So that's the dilemma. That's the dilemma I struggle with, the push and pull of the browsers between Brave and Chrome. At the end of the day, I never really have to worry. Chrome is the same evil I've always known it to be. It's always going to be Chrome. It's always going to be backed by Google. Well, maybe not. I mean, there's the antitrust suit that's happening right now. They might get sold off, and then Lord knows what happens to Chrome. But for now, it is controlled by Google, and I guess the phrase I'm looking for here is sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And Chrome has a very, very strong track record. You kind of know what to expect. And I can deal with that. That's where I'm kind of like, Fedora dropping 32-bit. See how long that lasts. See how the gamers react. Oh god, the head of Brave is a tool. I would imagine there's like, it takes a special kind of person to do some of the shit they've done in the past. So I get it. I get it. Firefox is kind of sucking nowadays. I never really liked Firefox. I don't speak disparagingly about Firefox because I'm like, we need more options. But I've never liked it. I've never been a Firefox user. It's just not my jam. But if that is your jam, by all means. Edge looks like a good overall browser. So, God, there's people that really do use Edge. It is awful. I can't ever use Edge. Like, just straight up, I will never be an Edge user. Just out of principle. It is run by Microsoft. It is baked into every damn system. There's shit tons of telemetry. Every time I turn off telemetry and really start stripping down a Windows system, the first thing that happens is Edge just completely shits the bed. I cannot deal with Edge and how bad it really is. It is absolutely awful. Yes?
I need help.
Oh, you weren't kidding.
No, it really wasn't. Oh, careful. It is like filled in the top.
There we go. Damn.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I want you to make the man.
Ah, thank you. Oh, yeah. Sometimes I think she trolls me and she just gives me like a thing and I'm just like, clack. And then this one I was like, oh no, you were serious. This is really on there. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at, Razzle, too. Like, how can a browser that is operated by Microsoft be good? Agreed. I know your gaming is not your main topic of discussion, but have you seen the discourse around Stop Killing Games petition and the drama between Pirate Software and his misunderstanding of it? I'm not a big fan of Thor and Pirate Software when it comes to his views on that. I think he is completely off base. Having regulations that say, hey, a game must be playable and must be maintained throughout the years is a good thing. You wouldn't go buy a product and then have that product be defective and unusable in 2 years. That's just not good for any consumer. Period. Full stop. It doesn't have to go past that. People overcomplicate it. I don't need a 50-minute YouTube video to tell me how it's good or bad. If you buy something, you should own it. And you should be able to use it indefinitely. That is my stance on everything. You do not rent shit. You do not pay companies dollars every month to rent something. I think that's awful, especially when it comes to anything that's software. I absolutely will die on that hill. I do not believe in software as a service. I do not think you should ever have that. And to think that you would defend big corporations, and essentially that's what Thor's doing by saying, hey, go ahead and make it to where you could take an online game offline, just because I can't. That's just wrong. And there's no way I'd ever budge. There's no discourse that could happen that I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that's okay. And I understand his point of view is from MMOs and having to host it from servers. I'm just saying I've used tons of private servers in the past. People that have reverse engineered, whether it was a WoW private server or EverQuest private server or a whole bunch. Final Fantasy 11 has a notorious private server called Horizon XI that I play on every once in a while. And Those are all fan made, fan run, and that should be totally okay. But guess what? Every once in a while, heck, I think just this past week with EverQuest, a private server got sued by Daybreak Games because it was using their IP. And I was like, okay, well, I guess they were trying to, I think they were doing like donations or something, and then they were making a little bit of money, and Daybreak was like, close this down. But, man, if you buy something, you own it. And I will just die on that hill. And it's to the point now where I've always been pretty anti-piracy, but I can't give money to any AAA title. And if there is something that comes out that is a AAA title, I might just have to sail the sea again. That's all I gotta say. I just do not believe in giving any big company any big money, especially now that the games are now $70, $80. I think you should just, at this point, just pirate it all. Screw it. Screw these big companies. Just pirate everything. If it's an indie developer, yeah, give them some money. They're only asking for $20, $30. That totally support these indie developers. These big companies, though, nah, I'm out. I'm sorry. $60, $70 for some shitty game that's not even finished, and then maybe they might patch it and make it okay in like 2 years. I'm sorry. You deserve to get your game pirated if that's your business policy. And I'm just not about that. I'm like, hey, at this point in time, they get what they get. And that's what you're going to get. Just lots of piracy. And if you DRM it to the point where, you have de novo and all that crap, honestly, there's just always ways around it. There always will be ways around it. That's what I'm at. Is Windows 10 utility fully closed at this point? No. It's all on GitHub. It always has been. Always will be. Yeah, man. It's all open source. You know? Oh, God. It's kind of hot here. Let's go. There we go. Yeah, it sounds like Thor. He's a big fan of doubling down on losing positions. That's okay, though. All right, let's get to going here. Let's start doing some PRs. Let's see, Rux had something here. How tricky would it be? It gets a little tricky on the service tweaks, mainly because of different versions, like Pro versus Home versus LTSC, and it can get really weird on these tweaks. That's where I'm kind of like, yeah, I think cooling them down. I appreciate Martin's idea here, though. I think this is okay here. I think I'll probably end up merging this. It's just such a big change to services. Which is fine. And technically this should work on better, many more systems. CDP. Diag. I'm just going to flip through looking at the services just to see if there's anything I'm like, hey, I wish we had that back. W search. WPN. That's fine. Edge update. SPP. VM3D service. I think that's Windows 11 exclusive. WSC service. Yeah, I mean, man, it just cuts down so much. And I went through all these services in the past, but it looks like, I don't know. I'm gonna hold on to that. I just gotta double and triple check that, because I'd hate to take that merge request, because it's culling down about 50 or so different services into like 10. Have you ever thought about making a Linux tool for beginners to help them set up their system without much CLI work? Yeah. So we have Linux utility, which is right here. Well, there's a couple things I want to talk about here. So I had a couple ideas here to make the internet less shitastic. Yeah, so this is currently what we got. We do have to do a new release on WinUtil. So that's working right now. And here, let's just play this so you can see kind of what it does. It shows you all this. And you can do like a curl fizzle to grab the latest version. And I'll do a stable version release after this. I think I pretty much got everything for this one. But essentially, it'll go through, and we've created a bunch of bash scripts to do full system cleanups, to install certain utilities, to do basically install like a bash prompt with like Starship, Zoxide, all the little fixings, and then pimp it out for you. NeoVim's in there. I need to update my damn NeoVim. Oh my god, that's going to be just a disaster. I wish I could just pay Primogen to come on my system and then just make my NeoVim work properly. Because I don't want to spend days fucking with it again. Anyways, yeah, we gotta update NeoVim, and then a few other things. But this is kind of the WinUtil. The other tool that I've been working on too, and this is not in a complete state. It's just kind of like a hacked together solution right now. But what I thought of is like, instead of, you remember like home pages that actually were good? What I thought about, what about a homepage that shows you a good RSS feed, which I've already gotten kind of a new one. I got to update this, which we might do. Good RSS feed so you can get like your latest news and stuff, but all technical based. Like if let's say let's say you're brain damaged and still like read The Verge or something. You know, most of that stuff isn't even tech articles. It's just politics with like a sprinkle, a splash of tech in there. Well, what I do is curate the RSS feed to basically just show you tech news. Like, hey, here's a 0 day. Your systems are vulnerable. Go patch your systems. Otherwise, bad things happen. You know, that is what I really am looking for. And I can't find that anywhere. So I was like, I'll just create it. So the idea is to have like a RSS feed and then have kind of these things to where you can just kind of click on that. And this is the Glance project, by the way, so I didn't actually create this. All I did was just like, hey, this is what's going on. And here's all your subreddits, so you can get like a quick overview of what's going on in the subreddits. And I'll expand this out. I'll probably add like Home Lab, Linux, r/Linux, and a few others. So then you can just get a quick brief glimpse of all the different subreddits and go, cool. And then you have your YouTube right here to where it'll show you all your creators and say, oh, okay, what's latest? I still have to build this out too. Right now it's just like Linus and Marquez and Fireship and a few others. I think Primogen's in there too. I don't know. And then search box. So like, let's say you go WinUtil. It'll show you that. So you can use that. Obviously, I'll create like a proper like certbot secure thing with like, I'll probably make a new subdomain on Chris Titus and call it like dash.christitus.com. Obviously, no special port needed. I'll just build all that out. And then we can also create special tabs too. But the idea of this is just to kind of have the internet at a glance. So you'll have your news, technical news up here. I probably will get rid of the weather because most people don't care what the weather's like in Dallas, Texas. They'll be like, "Oh, that's really freaking hot. Why is it in Fahrenheit? I'm in London. What's that in Celsius?" You know? But I probably would just leave the rest of it. So I'll probably get rid of the weather widget and then have the Twitch channels, YouTube, and then the Reddit. So anyways, that's like the idea. This is the Glance project. So if you want to self-host this yourself and build it out, it's really easy. The only critique I have of the Glance team and the Glance project itself is the configuration is done in YAML. We all know how much I love YAML. So not very much. I hate that. But I do have a gist of stuff that I'm building out for this. Which is, I think it was this one. And this is my gist. So I started building it out using like bleeping computer, 0-day fans, which is a hacker site for 0 days that as soon as they're published. Bleeping computer is actually still pretty good. It's one of the last good tech sites out there. Hackaday, Talos Intelligence, Citation Needed, Data Breaches, Double Pulsar, It's Foss, Krebs on security, the Register, and the Register's kind of in the middle. They still have some political articles, but it's not all political, which is good. It's just, man, I feel like in 6 months to a year, I'm going to be deleting it. Anyways, the record.media, risky.biz, and then Huntress. Just grabbing their RSS feed of their blog. So if there's something really pressing in the world, we're going to find out in that feed. It's going to be like, bam. I love YAML so much. What? Dan, you're trolling me. You do not love YAML. Ugh. Sleepy developer, I deal with YAML all day. Doesn't make it right. It does not make it right, okay? Just because it happens to you every day does not make it right. I just want to throw that out there. They're so true for many things, but especially for you YAML developers. JSON, you know, JSON I don't hate. It's better than YAML in my opinion. Not by a lot, but it's better. And my favorite's TOML. I just think everything should be written in TOML. TOML 1000%. Did I miss something? Oh, adding localization. Yeah, man. That's hard to do. Oh. Yeah, most, if not all, the text in WinUtil is hard-coded. That's very true. Very, very true. I think TOML should take over the world. I would not be mad if it did. So, anyways, those are some of the projects I have going on. Anyway, let's get going. Pull requests. Jared's been pretty good on his. We had a regression. What was the regression? Let me look. Oh, yeah. That's probably just updating, correct? Gotcha. Yep. Let's just merge that. I can tell you right now that needed to be done. Boom. All right. Anyways, we did WinUtil on the last stream. We're doing WinUtil this stream. WinUtil. I just before we go though, look at this. Boom. I'm up to like 2,500 contributions, which is like hilarious because half these don't really count. Because a lot of it is me and my little Final Fantasy 11 project. How many commits do I have on this thing now? Only 63 commits, so not that bad. Yeah, that's just my personal injection into Final Fantasy 11. All right. Anyways, WinUtil. Let's go. Come on, Chris. Focus. 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 All right. Add overlay. Block app list for install uninstall. Before we get going with that, let's do our testing. Update branch. Make sure everything looks good, and then we shall. Then we shall go forward. We shall go forth. What's going on here? What did I do there? There's an extra space. Okay, cool. Yeah, anyways. Let's pull those down. All right, we're all up to date. Let's do a compile and a run. How do you manage and keep your projects on track? God bless. Accept donations. I'm like halfway joking, but not really. So a lot of people, and I say this in the videos, but it's true. Like, I've tried a lot of different ways to keep different projects alive and going and this and that. But what I found is, as soon as I start accepting donations on a project and people like start using the project daily and the donations start coming in, there is an inner voice inside of me going, hey, you need to take care of these people. They gave you money. It is now your responsibility to deliver on that promise. Even though the promise is done, you know, not vocalized or even in writing anywhere, it's still like I feel that drive from that. I don't want to disappoint people that have donated to me. So that's what I do is, what is going on out there? What you doing, babe? What you doing? Oh, cleaning? Aw, okay. I was just checking on you. Sorry. Oh, yeah. But that's the gist of it. I just feel that, like, inner drive from not wanting to let people down. And that's how I keep my projects on track. And live streaming, believe it or not. So, I struggled on this for a long time. Where I live stream, and some people are like, Titus, all you do is yap the entire stream. I just see you pull up this and yap and yap and yap. You're not wrong. However, I do occasionally get some PRs done during the live stream, albeit probably about 10% of the speed if I wasn't live streaming in a perfect world. But how this works, I mean, this is such a convoluted, weird way of looking at things. But how it works is, I finish the live stream and I'm like, cool, now I can actually do some work. Let me finish this out. I told people on the live stream I was going to finish this. Let me just jam it out at night. So I might spend like 30 minutes or an hour finishing up PRs that I might not get to on this stream. And the live stream helps drive that later, even though it takes 10 times as long to do anything. So in a way, the live stream also drives it. So I tested this. I stopped live streaming for like, what, 3 months, guys? Something like that at the beginning of the year. Thank you for, like, Dragon Skies at the very beginning. Still subscribing through me just completely disappearing. I'm a complete jackass. I'm sorry. I thought, well, I'll just get more done if I don't live stream. Because I didn't, you know, the live streams are cool, but I was just doing it because I just like live streaming. There's not, like, a huge monetary reward for live streaming, so it doesn't matter if I do or I don't. So I was like, I'll just program and make tons of stuff by not live streaming. I'll have way more time. So I didn't. And guess what happened? Not a damn thing. I did less work. Even though I had way more time, I did less work. It doesn't make any sense. And maybe other people just are better at this than me. And maybe using these links in people's things, I would. But no, that's not how my brain works. I just like yapping, and then I get like all the stuff that has been like all the garbage that's been rolling around up here out into the microphone, and then my head's nice and clear for the actual coding later. And that's kind of how I treat live streaming, where it actually assists me in getting stuff done sometimes, but most times it's more of just like a garbage dump, like going on a walk and kind of just thinking about life and just kind of taking all those thoughts and just vocalize them in your head, except I'm screaming them into a microphone, even though some of those thoughts are just awful and you probably shouldn't even say them out and loud. You know, I've had some pretty hot takes that 90% of people would probably disagree with, but you know, you're a good yapper, enjoyable to listen to. And that's what I also like. That I also like entertaining. There's a fulfillment factor there too. You know, probably something with my ego. And I also break the system occasionally by force installing an app image of Chatterino. That was pretty epic, Lord. I'm not gonna lie, that worked incredibly bad. But here we are. Actually, we're not back on Linux. This is actually a different drive, so we still could boot back in there, which we probably will later. It might be that live streaming motivates you to get your work done. I think that's it. I think there's something there. Totally. I don't get it. But this is just what works for me. And I am not a very good blueprint or a template to use for productivity. I can produce, but the way I produce is way inefficient. And that's true for everything. My YouTube videos, like I talk to a bunch of YouTubers. I'm in like a Discord with them and we all chat. You know, there's a lot of big names in there. And we kind of go back and forth and everyone's like, oh yeah, I spend like 20, 30 hours on this video, 40 hours, 50 hours. And then I'm like, I spent like 30 minutes on my video. I just was like, I got to get this off my chest. Bam, jammed it out. Threw it and dissolved. Did a rough cut real fast. Threw it up. And then I usually toss my thumbnail. It usually takes about 5-10 minutes instead of making like 3 thumbnails like many of them do to get the highest click through possible. I'm just like, good enough. I think people will click on that regardless. I'm not going to bother. I don't have any workers. I don't have any contractors. I don't have anything. And I just do it all in-house. So end to end, it takes me about an hour to make a video. Usually. If it's a more in-depth video, like a full system overhaul install, probably 2 hours. And I'm just like, good enough. You know, and that does not work. It does not translate to many other things, especially in the YouTube streaming or the video production realm. So I did a good friend of mine. I was like, oh yeah, man, I'm a famous YouTuber. I know these things. I've been doing it for 7 years. I'll help you out. I'm good at this, obviously. I've got 700,000 subscribers, almost. And I should know these things. So we sit down, I set up this thing. We do like 10 videos, right? I edit them, upload them for them. You know, like we're doing like a little podcast back and forth. They're awful. And I was like, yeah. People do not watch me for my cinematic presence or any of that. It's just straight, hey, this is the knowledge I have. Here it is. I can tell people that in a pretty short period of time. That's a good thing. But the rest of it, like camera quality, all the lighting and all the other different things that go into it, passable, but it's nothing special. it definitely bruised my ego a little bit, to say the least, but at the same time, it also told me how lucky I am, and also most people just watch me because I know a thing or two. And it's more about just how much value you can put in that. And yeah, that's it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, good to know. I would never make it as a general purpose YouTuber, but live streaming, I'm all right. I like live streaming. It's another thing, not a huge thing. Oh, the distro hopping. I'm bringing it back, Spanky. This is what, great name, by the way. Spanky McSquats. I like it. It's a fantastic name, Spanky McSquats. I'm bringing back the old saying, distributions don't matter. They really don't. I think it's just good starting spots, and distributions help you figure out what tools you like from each distribution, and then just using your own distribution. And the other thing about Linux, I swear I'm going to get going on the Windows utility, but the other thing about Linux is this. I think everyone should just use Arch now. I used Debian the other day, and I was just like, everything's so old. How does anybody use Ubuntu or Mint or Debian? I just can't anymore. I've become one of those people. Ugh. But I was sitting there going, man, I'm just going to install DistroBox, throw Arch on it, and then launch everything through the AUR on my Debian box. Which you can do. So, I mean, again, distributions don't matter, but at that point, why didn't you just install Arch Linux? And I was like, just those things. But yes, if you know enough, it really doesn't. I think really distributions just help you kind of get that base knowledge of, hey, I like this program, I like that program, I like this about this distro, I like that about that distro, and then you just combine them all to make your distribution, your Linux, and then it's amazing. Who do we blame for Arch breaking user space? Now, I mean, this is why we do backups. We do backups a lot, and I highly recommend doing them. As we saw in the last stream, backups were instrumental after I nuked my Arch instance with installing a bunch of system libraries directly from an app extract. Not recommended, awful, but it seemed good idea at the time, and yet it was not. What are your feelings about Ex Libre? I get asked this a bunch, Loop, but yeah, I think it's fine. I just don't know if the lead developer of Ex Libre has the technical chops to make it work. I hope he does, but everything I've seen so far has been, seems overly political. Seems a little bit like, hey, look at me kind of thing. I haven't really seen any like massive improvements or development in Xorg that I really care about that he's done. So until that happens, I really don't care about Ex Libre. I hope it does well. I hope he adds features. That would be amazing. That like I really care about. And then instead of Xorg from free desktop, we could just use X11 Libre. I'm okay with that. But so far, most of his commits, most of his PRs have been meh at best and downright breaking crap at worst. So time will tell. I hope he succeeds, and I wish him well. And we do see a lot more contributors, so it depends. And it depends from a project management standpoint how well he maintains the project. Because you don't necessarily, if I've taught anybody anything, you don't necessarily have to be very good at programming if you're really good at project management and you really understand Git. If you really understand Git, you're a pretty decent project manager. You can do some really amazing things when you have a massive amount of people contributing. It's awesome. You can make the best software in the world, and I've shown that. So it could turn into that. It's just, I don't know how well it will be managed. I don't know how well they will do with the merges and taking and adding new features. So far, not very good. There's been many regressions, many things that have happened from the PRs he's done that have not been beneficial for Xorg and have even made it worse. So, time will tell. That could just be a couple like out of the gate missteps. I'm not going to pass judgment. I'm going to wait and see. But so far, if I was a betting man, you're probably just going to be still using the age-old Xorg from free desktop for now into the future. But that's a boring answer. Since viruses are mostly written in Windows, why does Microsoft entirely switch to an even more open source system? I mean, vulnerabilities get fixed even quicker, and it means less infected systems than now. Well, one, this will never happen, by the way, EO. Wayland will never kill Xorg. There's too many crazy autistic people in the Linux realm to ever let Xorg die. So Xorg will be here for now and forever. That I can promise you. As far as this, though, I was actually having a conversation the other day about Windows. A lot of people, like, when they look at my Windows, I got my Windows over here, and I'm like, okay, this is Windows, right? I'm indifferent on Windows. Maybe a little bit of hate, maybe a little bit of jagged saltiness to Windows. But what if all of Microsoft, all of Windows moved to a Linux kernel? Because as I made in one of my videos about the shitification of Windows, here's some just food for thought on Windows. It will be in Microsoft's best interest to switch completely to a Linux kernel. They've laid off most of their binary team. The people doing the binaries in the kernel team, a lot of them have been downsized. It used to be about 160 people. From my inside sources, I think it's floating around 30 or 40 people now. So their team is about 20%, 25% of what it once was. Considerably less. So they've laid off 70% or more of their programmers that really know kernel, really know what's going on. So not only do they have more source code to go over to improve Windows or improve the kernel specifically, they have way less tools, way less resources, way less skill to actually accomplish that. And as we know, AI is going to be not really a thing for making that better. So now we know all that. What does the future look like? Let me paint you a weird picture here. What if Microsoft just says, screw it, and just makes a compatibility layer? Like this right here, backwards compatibility. Why wouldn't Microsoft just make a wine that just does everything? Instead of having to reverse engineer like the Wine and Codeweavers and all those people that have done a fantastic job on Linux, what if they just did it? It would take, they could use their existing team. Shit, I bet they could jam that out in less than a year. And then all of a sudden, it completely opens up all the Microsoft products on every system. So more people, you now could easily transition and move to a Unix-based system on Windows, dump all this legacy crap. So all of a sudden, you don't even need the kernel team anymore. You have this compatibility layer, and you can just use the Unix-based kernel. All you got to do is make sure all the hardware is compatible then. So then you got to look at that. And I think that's somewhat doable. That's probably the biggest challenge or the biggest hurdle to get over with like a Linux kernel is like weird different peripherals like Steam Decks and a lot of Elgato crap. but also, you know, GoXLR was one other one that had issues. There's a lot of different like weird niche software that would probably be the biggest hurdle for doing this. But all of it could be done. And that would save them a ton of time, and it would save them a ton of support after they get over that hump. You know, it's still the bathtub effect whenever you do a new adoption. You know, in IT, the bathtub effect is you have a ton of issues right at the start, and then it kind of settles down, and then you're good for a long ways, and then at the end of life, usually it curves back up. Hence the bathtub effect. And I could see that. So yeah, there's a part of me that goes, you know what? Evil Microsoft could actually do something kind of smart and save a ton of money, and a lot of like the corporate bros wouldn't know any better up there in Microsoft. Everybody in a C-suite I've ever met's always been a giant moron, with like an MBA. They sound intelligent though. But business sense and whatnot, and actually making good companies, not really their strong suit. So I don't know. That's just my thing, my thoughts. It could happen. Be neat. Anyways, just some food for thought. Add overlay and block app list during install uninstall. Adds an overlay to blur effect to app list. Really? Like that. Let's take a look at what he's doing on the code base. Couple changes to the RGB values. Introduction of a new function. That's cool. Like it. Let's give it a whirl. All right. Let's go. Progress bar never really worked all that well. It worked, but it wasn't like amazing. I kind of like the graying out background. Let's squash and merge and let's see what we got. So let's go and install. Got Chatterino. Can we like just say install an upgrade? Oh, I like that. That's pretty cool, right? So you got this. Huh. Neat. What happens if I switch over to chocolatey and try it? What's it do now? That's pretty slick. Martin's doing some cool work there. Now it is still cutting off some of these right here. Gotta fix that cutoff. I do like it lined up a lot better than how we did have it though. Kind of on the fence on that one. Anyways, that's a cool PR. I like it. All right, next. Fixing the credentials system. Interesting. What do we have for conflicts? This one's got conflicts. We did have that merge beforehand. Through that. Let's see this one. Add, this is then fixed, replacing the 0. Okay. Seems logical to me. That sounds okay. So, what does that do? Oh, that looks good. Okay, cool. We do not have any conflicts for this. So, that seems like a pretty basic fix. Let's go. Let's do it. Squash merge, and then we'll do a test install. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's go. We'll do an uninstall as well, just to test that. Let's uninstall Chatterino. Let's go uninstall. Yes. Let's see what that looks like. That's looking pretty clean. Then let's go install. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So then if we go Chatterino. Nope. Let's just pin that. Yeah, it works out pretty good. I like it. What if we do an upgrade all applications? Let's see what that does. Kind of curious. It's been a while since I've been on this system. Oh boy. That'd be a lot to update. Let's see what happens. Now, if we look at this system, it does not gray it out or do anything on the upgrade all. But honestly, when you're doing that, you probably should be staring at the screen anyways. We'll probably fix this in a future update where it's more user-friendly. Yeah, that's true. It wouldn't be. I'd like breaking things, because once you break something enough, you kind of figure out like how to fix everything, if that makes sense. Like people that are too afraid of things breaking, I have a feeling they don't know how to fix very much stuff. Like all the things I've learned to fix has been because I already broke it. So it's like really important you get good at breaking things so you learn to fix things. If you're too afraid to break something and fail, you will never learn enough to fix that thing when it does eventually fail anyways. So I always say, learn that. Unless it's production and it's on like a server. You should probably do this in a test environment, so please don't take me out of context here. Definitely, you know, do it in a safe environment when you're breaking things. I would like to put a little asterisk next to that for sure. I don't want people doing that at the work server and be like, "Oh, Titus told me to break things." How do I have warp still installed? I need to install that. Rocker of Worlds, thanks for the tier 1, brand new. All right, man, welcome. Nah, tested prod. Is warp worth it? Nah, I don't think so. There are cool things about warp The thing I think I like the most about Warp Terminal is the blocks section where you can filter out blocks. So like if you have a massive dump of like a log right into your terminal chat, you can just click the little filter button, filter, and go, hey, just do this. So it's like doing a grep after running the command kind of thing. I like that feature of Warp. The rest of Warp, I don't know, just seems bloated and unnecessary. So I'm kind of like, eh. Self-ST, what do we got? Weekly self-hosted content and news delivered straight to your inbox. Oh, yeah. I can see that. That looks cool. You just throw that in and then thousands of self-hosted software and updates weekly. So let's see what they got. Oh, that's kind of neat. Mastodon is a digital public good. I don't like Mastodon, dude. Kind of out on that. I don't know why I have so much disdain for Mastodon, but it just... Ugh. It's gross. Every time I have, like, bad experiences on it. I don't know. I think it's just when you get enough people in, like, one spot going back and forth, it just always ends badly. It's like the sum total of everyone's IQ is like whoever's the dumbest. That's where everyone goes. I think Twitter and all the rest of them have kind of proven the point there. Alright, well, that's cool. Yeah. I might look at that a little more. I still like my idea with the... I might add something like this to it, because I bet we could do like a custom like blog self-host kind of thing. It's neat. I'm going to leave it up though. Let's tow that to the bottom here. All right, next up. I think that's pretty good. Coding Wonders. June. That's still a draft form, so let's wait that. Fix and clean up UI. Before, after. Drift usually has a really good one, so this is quite neat. I like it. Just adding a little polish, it looks like. Oh, look at that. Just beautiful polish. A couple little XML changes. Oh, Drift. Drift is amazing. God bless. God bless him. He just looks amazing with that PR. Let's take a peek at it. Let's close this boy down and... Oh, we're still doing updates. Oops. I think I saw it before. Roxa just... Yeah. More of a catalog. Okay. I think that's neat, though. Which is better, Windows Server or Linux Server for hosting Discord bots, website, and some testing that it uses database? Okay, let me break this down for you, Gaming Evolution. It'll answer the question for you without me actually saying yes or no to this. So in the Windows Server realm, which I have many alphabet soup behind my name and an ungodly amount of certifications in the Windows realm, for hosting a website, you would be using IIS, which if you've ever used IIS, there's some notes I have on it. And then using MS SQL instead of like a MariaDB or Postgres or SQLite even. Using MS SQL, obviously there's all this licensing that goes into all these things that we need to talk about too. I think it still has licensing. It's been years. And it kind of just breaks sometimes as well. So, you know, there's that. And back in the day, like go back 15 years, you had to deal with like an ISIS server, which is essentially a Microsoft firewall server that sits on the front end. I've had to configure all these things, and I've had a full Microsoft suite where it included all these things and I set up. And I want to sum it up just like this. It was the absolute worst experience I've ever had in my professional career, and nor would I wish that on my absolute worst enemy to ever use Microsoft Server for all a full stack suite. You would have to be an absolute insane, crazy, dumb person off his meds to do a Microsoft suite of any sort of all of that in 2025. Absolute madness. Nobody at Microsoft does this crap anymore. They only do it just for supporting like legacy people that don't want to do any work, and they're like, we just updating until something breaks and then we'll finally migrate off. That's the only reason it still exists. Nobody does it on purpose, and nobody ever sets this up in 2025 that has a brain. And that's spoken from someone that supports this crap, that knows it quite well. And you couldn't pay me any amount of money to make me look at your business that has that infrastructure. I would look at that infrastructure and go, nope. No, you cannot pay me to do that. That is insane. You are insane for still having that in 2025. I can set up something different. I'll set it up in a Linux server for sure. But to do it in a Windows server in 2025, to even suggest it, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. You need to go to the doctors now. I mean, we should just stop this conversation. You need to leave and go admit yourself because you are certifiable. Hey, but when it comes to server 2008 R2, there is a soft spot I have for that. I understand why clients still have it. I mean, there was some really cool stuff like remote app. Come on now. Microsoft was cooking in 2008 R2. It by far the best server release ever made by Microsoft. Hands down. And there was some really cool stuff. And in 2008 R2, for all its flaws, it being from Microsoft, there's always flaws. But, I mean, it was a great server OS, man. I mean, I just loved it. I still love it. Even today, I still love it. I mean, I don't run it anywhere, but I mean, it's neat. Yeah. End of life in 2020. Too bad. So sad. I think right now we're using mostly 2019 servers for like Active Directory. 2019's good. I think 2025 just came out. So, yeah. 2025, I might try next year. I always wait at least a year after a OS is released before even thinking about upgrading anybody in like a client side. It needs at least 12 months to bake when it comes to Microsoft. So, yeah, 2025 acts like Windows 11. Yeah. That's not exactly an endorsement. Yeah. I'm sure it is. It's probably like 24H2, I think, is what it's based off of. So, not the best. That sounds like me, Chris. So let's go and do Windows Server then. I'll do it. I'll do it for me personally, just so I can say I did it. But yeah. I just went from 2019 to 2022. Yeah, if you had to upgrade today, I think that's the right call. Grix. Like, don't... Like, I had a buddy of mine at work. He was like, oh, hey, we got a sunset. I think we still have, like, one 2016 DC still hanging about. And he was like, oh, do we just want to upgrade that to 2025? I was like, absolutely not. We'll wait till 2026, but we can sunset this server. Do, like, a DC promo and get rid of it after we move all the roles off of it. But... I would, if I had to do it today, it would be 2022. Easily. Not even have to think about it. But here in a year or two, yeah, probably 2025. I imagine they'll work out the kinks. And yeah, I know it's based off Windows 11 and whatnot, but you're still going to be using Active Directory. You're still going to need something, so that makes sense to me. 25 came out last year. Yeah, but it didn't release what was the release date on it? I want to say the Insider Edition came out 2024, no doubt. Server 2025 release date. November 1st, 2024. Yeah, I would still wait till 2026, though. I don't know. I don't know. I've been burned too many times by a fresh release to where I always wait at least 12 months after a fresh release. We're talking about, like, production servers here. I would not feel comfortable making like that as like a PDC, primary domain controller, for server 2025. If that's you, you're insane, in my opinion. But that's just someone that's been bit by Microsoft way too many times to ever recommend a new product of them. That's just crazy, insane things. Wait till 2027 to catch up to get 2026 hardware. Does or will Windows Server have or get recall like Windows 11? No, I would be shocked if that were the case. I mean, I'm not going to rule it out 100% because Microsoft sometimes makes some crazy brain dead decisions, but that would be absolute insanity to throw recall on a server. Because there's just so much sensitive data on a server that you should not be taking screenshots of everything that happens on it. That's insane. So, I mean, I don't think so. So let me just they've probably gotten a little bit better of this about the free security audit from Microsoft. You'd think this is a scam, but it's actually not. What happens is Microsoft needs to audit your business. The security audit is essentially a licensing they're validating all those licenses you're running, making sure you're not abusing like a KMS server, or maybe you've taken too many trips to the mass grave. And, that type of thing is usually what those audits are, is they'll run a sweep, cull the network and say, hey, what are the licenses this business is using? Are they in compliance? And then if they're not in compliance, you get a really nasty letter that shows up, which means you have to pay an ungodly amount of licensing fees. So that's up to you whether or not you want to bring that headache on yourself, but they can get really pushy. I've had a lot of Microsoft reps hit me up in business and go, hey, you had a volume license key for Windows 7. I mean, this was 9 years ago now. But they were like, hey, we gotta get on this network. We gotta do this, otherwise you're in violation of your policy of all the licenses you bought. I was like, yeah, well, I'm busy and it doesn't work for me now. Call me again in a month. He's like, a month? I need to do this in the next day. And I was like, well, I don't have time to babysit you, and I'm not going to give you remote access to my systems here. So you can just call me back in a month. And then I just hang up on them. And they get really pushy. So don't give in to them. It's not like they can do anything. They're not going to reject a valid volume license key that you paid for. They're just going to get pissed at you. And they're kind of mean about it. But you just don't take their calls and just hang up on them any chance you get and be like, going through a tunnel. I'm sorry, Microsoft. And then just don't answer their calls. I even went as far as going in because I controlled the telephony and I tracked all the 800 numbers coming from like Redmond, and I just redirected them into the voicemail. So then the receptionist wouldn't even get calls from Microsoft. I just, just those things. I mean, nobody really cared. And the executive team loved me because they're like, dude, we don't get those. We don't have to mess around with that. I'm like, yeah, I'll just keep doing this. It'll be fine. I mean, I did. You got to have work. You got to have fun at work, man. No matter what you're doing, even if your job sucks. You got to find the joy in everything you do. And the thing about any job, I think I would ever say, is I think there's this, I think, I don't want to generalize or anything, but I think there's this idea or dream people have that one day you're going to do what you love, and then you're just going to love everything about what you do in your job. And it's just going to be you live happily ever after. And that's just a lie. Every single job, even the great jobs, like I consider what I do now is just the best ever. And I love everything about my day to day for the most part. However, there's still times where you just have to shovel some shit. And that's every job. There's going to be things that you're just like, oh, that sucks. I don't want to do that. All right, let me go get my shovel. Let's get, it smells bad, but we just got to shovel it and then get it done. And that's just every job. There's going to be that instance. The only difference between from job to job is how big that pile that you got to shovel is. Sometimes it's not that big. I consider my jobs nowadays, it's a pretty small pile. But, once a week, you gotta do a little shoveling. But manageable. Other jobs, man, I've had some where it was just daily occurrences of just, ungodly fires and just BS because of bad decisions. That's not fun. That's just way too much shoveling. just my take on it. Hot take. If you're running Windows 10 on your PC and you're using now every day instead of Linux, would you upgrade to Windows 11 or paid to keep Windows 10? Paid to keep Windows 10? What? Are you talking about paying the 3 years ransom or whatever to keep security updates coming in? Nah. Okay. I'm just going to say this for the record, and since this isn't going on YouTube, really, let's just tell you how every IT person in the world does their system. Here's the truth behind the best system setup ever. Here's what the people with decades of experience that have dealt with Microsoft do. You ready for it? It's really simple. You don't need a long 20-minute video explaining it all. You go to Microsoft's website, so you go here. You're like, Windows 10 LTSC. Let's go download. All right, cool. Get your Windows 10, 11, Enterprise. United States, 64-bit. Cool. You download it, right? So you get your Enterprise LTSC. I think this is 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Or LTSC right here, actually. Sorry, wrong one. Yeah. Let's see. So you grab your LTSC. Then you visit massgrave.dev. Boom. It's activated. Now you don't have to deal with all the bloat. You don't have to deal with all the crap. And you have 10 years of support. I think when's Windows 10 LTSC? Windows 10 LTSC end of life. End of life. 2032. So you're good till 2032. You can stay on your Windows 10. It'll work. You can play most of your games. You have pretty good system setup compared to Windows 11. It's not as bloated, and you have support all the way to there, and you didn't pay a dime. And that's what IT people do. Yeah. Boom. There are some small differences, especially if you use stuff from the Microsoft Store. There's ways, I think last time I tried it, you could get the Microsoft Store on an LTSC, but it's a little cumbersome to do. But this is what most people do that want Windows 10. Nobody should pay for Windows 10 extended support unless you're like a hospital and you have a lazy IT team. That's the only instance of who pays for Windows 10 support. Your mom and pop or you sitting at home, no, you never pay for Windows 10 support. If you want to stick on Windows 10, you just switch to LTSC and you just stay on Windows 10 without paying Microsoft a dime. That's the reality of it. Yeah. And I don't condone piracy, by the way. I'm not saying you should do this. I'm just telling you what other people do. Other people do this. But that's what most IT people do. Nobody actually pays for that. Businesses and big corporations that want to stay on Windows 10 because they didn't upgrade for whatever reason. There's a bunch of different reasons not to upgrade. That's what who's that for. It's not for you. It's just for people that get contacted about a security audit from Microsoft and they need to make sure that they're up to date. So it's just a way of Microsoft extracting more money from big corporations. Just my 2 cents. Yeah, it can do ESU activation. It can activate O365, Office, all kinds of things. It does really good. Who you calling you people? Oh, man. I love it. I love it. I can't find a job as a game developer. Companies, do you have any advice for me? Make your own game. Make your own game. Publish it yourself. Put it on Steam. Give people a portfolio. The best thing you can do when you walk into an interview is go, look at this game I made. Same with software. Make software stuff that you're passionate about. Things that you want to see and nobody else has fixed yet. And then you make it. And then you walk in and go, here's all the experience I have. Here's the products I've made. Hire me. Chances are you won't even have to interview, or your interview will be more of a formality than an interview. But if you get into your interview and they're like, what's your greatest weakness? Tell me about yourself. Why do you want to work for our company? Yeah, you might be in some trouble, especially on the higher end. If you're making close to 6 figures, if you start getting canned questions, you're in trouble. Just my 2 cents. Oh, all right, let's see. WS reset -I. I'll have to try that. Got my current job developing an internal tool that was better than what we had at the time. I'm telling you, man. People just want to see what you can do, really. All the extra stuff that people go and talk about, it's all, and no business leader cares about any of that. They're like, well, just show me what you've done. And if you can't say anything and be like, well, I graduated school, top of my class. Nobody cares. I was at Harvard or, Cambridge or Yale or whatever. That doesn't matter, because honestly, those are just for people to network. And if you are in that boys club, then you should be able to get in the C-suite somewhere, and then, you're set. But if you don't get in a C-suite and you don't network while you're at those places, it's kind of a pointless education, in my opinion. I think better, actually practical use of whatever it is in the real world and actually building something and then saying, this is what I built, is way better than any degree you can get, especially in IT. Now, having said that, if you're a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, you're going to need to finish school. If you want to work in those professions, you're going to need some schooling. You're going to need some higher education. IT, I think, mostly. You still need higher education, but a lot of it's just more formalities. Like, I've gotten certificates and weekends and stuff like that. You can just go read the book and then just go take the test. I think the tests, the last one I took was like $150. And you just go take the test and get the cert. So it's not that big a deal, in my opinion. Computer engineer? No. I don't think so. You might. It depends on what kind of engineer you're looking for. It just, yeah. Hopefully you can get an internship somewhere and then kind of get a good feeling and be like, hey, what are you guys looking for? What do you look for in a new hire? And then you will understand a little bit better. But definitely an internship if you're looking for some kind of engineering, I think. And then obviously the schooling to back it is probably needed. Most big certs are 300 now. What's the CompTIAs these days, man? I remember CompTIA used to be like 130. Sounding like a boomer now, but Did your qualifications get you your job? I feel like I have survivorship bias, so I'm a terrible person to ask this. I had a job at Best Buy, of all things, in 2000, and 2000 got bought by Geek Squad, and then they just said, hey, if you can get certifications, you can become a business technician. And at the time, it was Small Business Server. 2003 just came out, and I think I needed an A plus or something to work there. And I was like, sweet, I'll go knock those out. So I did. I think I paid a couple $100 for that. And I think Best Buy reimbursed me for that. So I don't even think I paid for them. And once I got those certs, I was able to get promoted to those positions and then get the experience. But once you get the experience, nothing matters. Whether it's like the college or certs, none of that matters. I think the closest thing you can come to is like a higher end technician. I interviewed for a role about 8 years ago now, maybe longer, but I remember they had a sliding scale for pay. So if you had certs, they'd pay you more money. And what they didn't know about me is I'm really good at taking tests. So I just looked at everything that gave a pay raise, and then every single weekend I was getting a pay raise because I would just take a new test and you're like, what the hell is going on? So I was able to just jam out a bunch of tests. And you can do that as well. So most times it's like a bonus on top of what you already make with testing. And if you already get hired from the place, a lot of times the employer will actually pay for the tests. At least that's how it was when I did it. But yeah. Wow, Security Plus was $350 a few years ago. Damn. Yeah, they went up. But the big thing is that get experience. Certifications are great for getting your foot in the door. Much like a college education, you need some form of higher education usually to get your foot in the door. But what trumps it all is experience and networking. I can't even tell you the last time I looked and actually applied for a job somewhere. 20 plus years ago. Something like around 2001, 2002, I think is the last job I applied for. Everything else that I've ever filled out an application for has more been from a formality because someone knew me from a prior job. So I always have networked. I've always had someone going, hey, that Titus guy, he knew his shit. He could do this. Let's contact him. And then I'd come in and I'd have about a page, and that page would say, hey, here's all my experiences from all the places I've worked. Here's challenges I've gone through. You can ask me about that. And then I just hand them that page. And then I always make about 3 copies. And one goes to the person giving the interview. Technically, usually there's I don't know what you call them, a hiring manager or, some HR person there. I usually give them one. There's usually a technical lead there to check to make sure you actually know the technical side of things. And then I usually have one for me. And then that way we can all kind of look. The great thing is at that point, you're kind of driving the interview. And a lot of times the interviewer will look at it and go, oh, this is cool. Tell me about the time you had like a RAID controller go out and what'd you do to fix that? That sounds interesting. And then it kind of drives that whole interview process. But again, a lot of times I can't tell you the last time I did a cold interview. Almost everything has been because someone knew me or worked with me in the past, and then I got in that way. So networking is the ultimate. So be nice to people you run into. And sometimes it's the people you don't even expect. Like I've gotten the best job I ever got came from a vendor I worked with that I don't even really remember working with. And it was about a database migration I did on a contract job to where it was like a law firm. And I worked with someone from LexisNexis. And then they had a bunch of issues with a bunch of other techs. I got in and I was like, oh, I'm pretty good with databases. And I was able to kind of clean up everything. And then I worked with their vendor and we knocked it out in a night. Everything was fixed. And then I went home, didn't even think anything of it. And then 2 years later, I get a call from that guy. He referred me to a different law firm that I never dealt with, never walked in, nothing. And then they called me in for an interview and went in. And they're like, great, you're hired. The thing I remember about that interview, the interview went so well that the last question they had was like, how much do you want to make? Or what are you asking? And I remember saying, oh, at that time, this is like mid 2000s. I was like, I want to make 60,000, or I think it was like 60,000 plus benefits and some other things I said. And as soon as the sentence ended, they were like, you're hired. And I was like, oh, I so undercut myself there. I should have asked for more. I should have asked for more. It was so funny. So as soon as those words came out of my mouth, I was like, I immediately went, shit, I still had like a good 20 or 30K on the table there, didn't I? I shot myself in the foot. They were ready for 100K. Should have added a zero. Yeah. So, oh well. We all make mistakes. Agree with the higher education opinion. 6 semesters of CSE, BSc. I feel like it was a complete waste of time and effort. I learned more about various projects than I did from class regarding programming and related stuff and not math and circuit logic. Tests focus on specific scenarios and specific solutions, not actual real world solving skills. Yeah, I think there's the thing about the higher education. One, it kind of gives you base knowledge, but a lot of it, the best ones I've seen are like the tech colleges that kind of run you through some real life scenarios, but also the people you meet along the way. I can't emphasize the human element, and having social skills is so important. And I think a lot of people in the IT specific field, man, I can't tell you how many weird people I've met that I'm just like, oh, brilliant people, but just were not able to articulate their thoughts properly, or they get really nervous. And you know, a lot of people, they would much rather have someone that's just kind of competent and not necessarily brilliant that they can talk to and just have a good time with at work than someone that's great and can do double or triple the amount of work and the work product is even better. Believe it or not, most people would just rather have the average person sitting next to them just having a good time. So I think there is that to be said about work, which some people don't realize. Sometimes it's more about having fun and just learning to have a good time with your coworkers than it is about being good at your actual job. It is awful to say out loud, but there is some truth to that. That's probably why I still have a job, because truth be told, I don't do that much these days. I really am a glorified mascot. Occasionally I'll do something. Occasionally there'll be some complex thing that popped up, but maybe like once a year. And I'm like, hey, I think I earned a paycheck today. I feel good. Maybe the next one will come in about another year. But it's very few and far between these days. A lot of times people I think they keep me around. Just one, it's comfortable to have me because I have so much knowledge, but also very comfortable from hey, I just like seeing Titus every week. He's always lighthearted, easygoing, and just fun to get along with. And, you know, sometimes those meetings, like we have these weekly meetings sometimes at work where they're a little bit drab and kind of like, ho-hum. And I like to kind of liven things up a little bit, usually make an inappropriate joke or two, maybe get in trouble with HR a little bit, but typically everybody laughs. And I think there's some importance to that too. There's definitely value in that. Quick question. Snappy Driver Origin that you have in your WinUtil program, where does it save? It's actually run directly from your CLI. So, like, I think it's SDIO is what you do. Let's install it really fast just to show you. Let's figure this out for you. I want to say it just launches direct. Snappy. All right, let's install. So basically, you're the guy that brings the snacks to the meetings. I would say I'm the guy that eats the snacks at the meetings, that I've been there for like a decade plus, and that I'm just there to have a good time. But if you have a question about like a legacy system that's been around forever, I'm also that guy. Be like, why is it done this way? And I'll be like, well, a funny story happened. It was going back in time about 16 years ago, on a dark, rainy, stormy night. We were gonna install something that was way better than this, but it just didn't pan out, and we needed to get it done by the morning. So instead, we decided to just install MySQL, make this janky PHP site with just kind of hacked together from, Stack Overflow. And that's why everything's just on this one mud page, kind of out there on a typical lamp stack. And they'll be like, yeah, that's awful. I'm like, it is awful, but it does work. And here's how you maintain it. But we probably should switch to something that's actually real at some point. I just got a PC. When I play Fortnite on low settings, the game feels horrible. How can I fix it? Get a better PC, probably, if you just got a PC. Unless it's like a used PC. Or I would probably just uninstall all the bloat that comes with it. Chances are you probably have like McAfee or old Norton on there. I'm not saying they're bad programs, but you need to get rid of those. And once you get rid of all that bloat, you're going to have a lot better time. I would say that's probably the biggest thing about a new PC. Just out of the box, they just kind of are like, meh. No. Snappy Driver Origin, I don't think worked, did it? I don't think it did. Let's try it manual. Manual install. Let's go. Let's pull this down. Let's go WinUtil search. Snappy. Alright. What are you having a problem with here? I wonder why this didn't install direct. We did change a few things on the install. I wonder. Installer hash does not match. This cannot be written. Okay. That's what's going on. Alright. That's fine. Most things will have a hash that matches. It's just this one doesn't. Whatever. We'll install it through the user. My dad keeps insisting on ESET. I hate it. ESET was great back in the day. It's one of the OGs, but yeah. No, you should just use Defender these days. I don't think you need to use any kind of... let's go... What's the overwrite command? Overwrite hash. Override hash. Winget. All right. Oops. Nope. Microsoft Logic. I love it. Absolutely love it. Oh my god. Why do I have cursor installed still? Yeah. Alright. Let me get rid of that. There's a couple things I need to get rid of real fast. It's bugging me. Let's uninstall cursor. Goodbye. You are the weakest link. Get rid of some of this AI garbage. Yep. And then warp. Uninstall. Alright, cool. That's way better. Nice. Now, coming back into here. 1 second, I'm gonna get this installed eventually. All right, ignore security hash. Let's go. Rux is the resident bot. Nested installer file does not exist. Ensure the relative path of the nested installer. What is going on with the SDIO? I think the SDIO is broken, man. Dagnummit. Well, what happens if you install SDIO directly from their download site? Moglin. Damn. Gotta go old school with this. Yeah, there's no installer here, so this is just gonna run it. Shucks. But yes, if you do install it, manage to get it installed through Wingit or Chocolatey. Chocolatey probably works. Let's try Chocolatey, actually. Let's go that route. I feel like Chocolatey would work. There's the compile run command. What happened to WinUtil being used Power 7 as a standard? Still working. Yeah, I agree with that. We have it in here, right here. You can just click that, run it, and then it sets it as the standard. Anyways, let's go back to install. We're going to switch to Chocolatey. Now we're going to go Snappy. Let's click that and install. Let's see if Chocolatey can get SDIO going. So it's going to copy it to C program data Chocolatey libs SDIO. SDIO installed properly. So then, if you close this out, we relaunch. We go SDIO. Do we not have it? Should just run the 64-bit one right here. I thought there was an auto version of this, but let's see. Yeah, that worked. So, yeah. To answer your question, if you do get SDIO installed, it's a little jank. It's not signed, and the best one is usually just doing autocomplete, and then whatever version you installed, you can see this one is in the, because we installed it via Chocolatey, it's in the C program data Chocolatey bin folder, and it's SDIO _x64 _R816. But your version is probably going to differ from that. So you can look at that path. Probably the easiest way is just to take this, open up your Explorer, just paste it in the top here, and then go, oh, there's SDIO, and then launch it. You can launch it directly here as well. So if you wanted to just launch into it from there, you could do it that method as well. A couple different ways for you if you install it through the command line. But it's just, there's not really an installer. It doesn't actually get installed in the system. It's just referencing the binary. So not ideal. I'm not a big fan. Oh, and one. Thanks so much for the Prime, by the way. Did you see my question about 64-bit programs? What happened to WinUtil being... Oh, no, I didn't... What was the 64-bit programs? Let's see. Can you honestly explain to me why not all 64-bit based programs are installed in program x86? I still see some of them install on program files. Any way to make future executables for 64-bit programs on x86? x86, this directory, how I always understood it, is where 32-bit programs get installed that don't have a 64-bit binary. If it is a 64-bit binary, it should get installed into program files without the x86 extension. That's my understanding of it. So it actually is the exact opposite of what you're asking, where everything in program files x86 is like old shit that doesn't have 64-bit or it's not compiled on 64-bit, where everything in program files typically has a 64-bit, but it also can work in probably 32. Just my thought. Yeah, so that's my understanding of it as well. Rux. And also blame Microsoft for this backwards, weird ass compatibility thing. It's weird. It's so strange. And sometimes it doesn't even install in program files at all. Sometimes it's in program data. Sometimes they don't even decide to put it in either of those, and then it gets installed somewhere else. You can get this tossed into like as a Windows app that's installed somewhere else as well. Other times, even older games and programs get installed directly on the C drive. Sometimes things get installed into public, user public folder, or even sometimes other things get installed into your user public folder or your user folder. I mean, it's just, it depends on whatever the developer's feeling for the day, and Windows never standardized this at all. So programs get installed all kinds of different ways in Windows. I mean, Linux is considerably better, so is Mac in this regard. And Mac's probably the best and most uniform for standardization of programs because everything's in like the root/applications typically. But neither here or there. Yeah. And random programs install into app data. That's true. Sometimes that happens too, which is like, it's maddening. Absolute madness. Oh, yes. I think that was a remnants from remember the Windows on Games thing with Xbox 360? I kind of liked that with the game score and everything. I thought that was kind of cool, and you could talk to Xbox players back in the day, late 2000s. But sometimes like games for Windows Live would go down, and then you couldn't log in and play the game. It's like the first DRM before people conditioned. I honestly think they were just ahead of their game. Nowadays, everybody's just conditioned to be like, oh yes, everything's online. If that server goes off, we just can't play, and we just accept that because that's just how the games work now. Yeah. Did Path of Exile 2 ever come out? I can't remember. Last I checked, it was only like pre-release and you had to pay money, right? Did they ever release Path of Exile 2 for free? Or is it still only early access? It's still early access? Okay. I'm just cheap, and I'm going to wait for early access to end. I am terrible. I am terrible. Oh, man. All right. Let's get another PR done here. God bless. I am so slow today. All right. Remove edge tweak. Yeah, it's almost impossible. Agreed. Let's see what this guy's doing. Registry key. Well, that's pretty fast and minimal. Does that work? Outdated. Yeah. It just changes so often. That's the problem with edge tweak. Every time I look at it, I'm just like, ugh. Yeah. Kind of sucks. Probably my favorite method for uninstalling Edge these days, funny enough, you're going to laugh at me. Revo Uninstaller actually does a pretty damn good job. It's really not that bad. All right, we're going to remove this. Agreed, approve. Let's remove it. The old method was good. I mean, I like it. We worked hard on it, but it just, Microsoft keeps breaking the uninstall of Edge, and I think that's just going to keep happening. So, until I find a better method, I say just use Revo Uninstaller to uninstall Edge. Remove hibernation tweak from standard preset. Man, I hate hibernation. Yeah. Yeah, but a lot of people do use hibernation. Weirdos. Alright. It's fine. That is fine. Anybody in chat use hibernation? No? Nope, nope, nope. I'm judging you, Evo. Or Ewu. Absolutely not. Ugh. And dark GPU. Lost some cool points in my book. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hibernation's always been a little bit dicey. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you have a whole bunch of save work, it's nice to be able to save the memory to your disk and then boot back up and have everything exactly where it was. However, in practice, it's just really janky because it like saves memory links and all kinds of craziness that happens in Windows. So I always recommend just shutting down your PC or sleeping it and then opening it back up and shutting down. So I never personally ever have used hibernation just because ever since it got introduced, I think it was like ME when it introduced and it was like, oh my God, super buggy, blue screens galore. But the idea of hibernation is kind of cool, but I always have always had bad experiences and I always don't recommend it. But these days, probably hibernation's okay. I think the disable feature by default just comes from me being an old man yelling at a cloud going, back in my day, hibernation never worked. It always caused blue screens and it was awful. But that's kind of old and I think it's fine now. It intermittently failed to restore everything and some apps came back in an unstable state. That's every time for me, man. It's always like that for me. At what point is it not better just to leave Edge installed, but change the Edge tweak in the toolbox to change different browsers? I think that's kind of where we're at gaming. I fixed Edge on install so many times now, I'm just kind of sick of it. Yeah, sleep states on Ryzen with Windows always gave me issues more recently. I don't recommend it. Really, sleep states have. I've never had issues with sleep, but I'm more of an Intel kind of guy. Even with all the shenanigans of what, 13th and 14th gen blowing up and them screwing up, causing them to overheat and melt in people's computers. I've actually still haven't had any issues. I have a 13th gen Intel since the day it was released, and it's still chugging along. But I do my BIOS upgrades and stuff like that. It was kind of funny, actually. I was playing, I think it was like a year and a half ago when all that happened. And then I was like, oh, hey, I think it was launching World of Warcraft. Of all things, World of Warcraft was like, hey, you got to upgrade your BIOS because you're on an unstable firmware. And I was like, what's World of Warcraft telling me to upgrade my BIOS for? That's kind of odd. And that's where I think all that came from. Believe it or not, that's what made me upgrade my BIOS finally. And I still haven't had any issues. Although the CPU fan is going out in that system now. I think I did have a... Oh, God, I should shut down that PC and we should do a video of me replacing the fan. I think I have an old Noctua passive fan that's like bigger than my head that is just stupid that I might toss in. Anyways, that's fun. Add JMPEG. What's this? Oh, okay. Sure. Let's do a test really fast as we have done a couple PRs. Nothing substantial though. Let's go here and run. All right. Ah, cool. All right. Neat. Everything looks good there. Next. Sometimes I like to, I know a lot of people critique me for using GitHub Desktop. I don't really use it so much for like commits and stuff anymore. I usually just use code, or even just commit directly from the CLI. But I really like how it visualizes a lot of changes that happen in the repo. So there's that. 1 second. Ah. Oh. All right. Be right back, guys. Oh, my lazy git. I still have that. I still have that on my my PowerShell power profile. But 1 second, I'll be right back, guys. Oh, push-ups. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I did push-ups on stream. After Murph, I was like, oh my god, I'm beat. I'm beat. 1 second. All right. Ooh. All right. It would be a good idea if MicroWin injected a browser that picked by the user and set as default for the browser to the one the user has chosen. I think honestly, I just like MicroWin to be my. I don't want to like give a bunch of options on MicroWin because I think really what I want it to be is I envision MicroWin to be Microsoft's how Microsoft should do it. If I worked at Microsoft, I want the end result of MicroWin to be equivalent to how Windows 7 was back in 2009. On release, it installed nothing. It gave you a blank desktop, a blank canvas, and then you picked and installed whatever the hell you wanted. That's what I envision for MicroWin. It should always be Windows, a clean version of Windows. That's it. No extra shenanigans, no extra like, oh, I picked all the software for you and installed it. It should just be a clean version of Windows that you can have like a sane choice from, you know? That's just kind of how I see it. Not Candy Crush, not Facebook, not TikTok. None of that. We don't do those things. Did you fix your system? Yeah. Oh yeah, blood. Works great. We're in Windows right now though. We're doing some PRs for old WinUtil. Fix package ID. What do we have here? Ah, Viber package ID. What's wrong with Viber? Viber. What is Viber? Sounds dirty. What do we got? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Drift is absolutely 1000% correct as usual. All right. Approve. Do you run Windows under a VM in Linux or do GPU pass-through? I've done both. I typically have all three, so I do a dual boot setup as well. So, you know. No. Arch is still my go-to. That's still what I prefer. But I develop Windows utility directly in Windows. It just is easier. Makes sense. Button, legacy. What's the command? System dm.cpl. Oh, no. Comp management.msc. Okay. Cool. I like that. Him removing the CMD launch, I think is fine, actually. He's just doing it directly from PowerShell, which you can do. I think back in PowerShell 5, you couldn't do that. So we might break some 5 compatibility with doing it this method, but whatever. Just don't use PowerShell 5. You know. Legacy time date. Oh man. Old time date CPL. We got some conflicts. Let's see. We probably can just resolve this really fast just to get the merge done. And it's kind of funny. I think Drift did both these. Well, let's mark that resolved. Yeah, he did both these. I think he just submitted it incorrectly. Hey, shit happens. It's all good. But if I'm looking at that, oh, there's something about this. It's gotta not be matched up on the paneling, I don't think. Like, it shouldn't come before sound. And also, why is it all in caps? It's just some formatting. I'm gonna leave it. Formatting of it, I don't necessarily agree with. OCD things, right? Adaptive busy icon message. Oh, that's cool. Let's see what we got. Should be good. Coding gave the sign off. Suggest a couple changes. Okay, it should be good. Okay, should be finally good to go now. Are we sure? Coding gave 3 different. Yeah, no, wait. Couple things. That's funny. All right. Yeah, I like the introduction of pushing this instead of relying so much on the message boxes, putting it through that invoke micro win busy information. Much more responsive in that method of doing things. Yeah. A little cleaner. All right, cool. Let's go. Squirge, squash and merge. Looks good. On to the next. I love Arch, man. I'm to the point where I think just recommend Arch Linux for everything. I don't even think you should use any other distro at this point. Unless you're new. And then maybe like a Bazite type situation. I like Bazite just because it's hard to break. Not impossible, but hard. That's what she said. All right. Support for S3 Sleep, modern standby. Ooh. Toggle between modern standby and S3 Sleep. Okay. I'll switch my mom to Arch. Oh, she'll love it. All right. Fix disabling ultimate profile. Dude, we've had problems with the ultimate profile for quite some time now. Keeps like having issues. I think there's some locale issues as well. Let's take a look at what drift changed here. Yeah, so I don't think the match was happening with the GUID, and it was causing issues. But what was changed here? Changing the name, right? No, none of that's changed. Quoted the GUID. Everything else looks fine. And just adding the toggle from enable to disable. Okay, well, since it's already kind of like halfway broken, break it further, I think. Let's go. What's that even look like? Let's go. Power CPL. Oh, power config CPL, my bad. Oops. I've messed that up a couple times now. All right, let's pull these changes. Let's compile. Oh, that's my PowerShell profile. Oops, my bad. Damn. Actually, let's install that. Good to know that works. Oopsies. Maybe under tweaks? Yeah, it must have been tweaks. All right, let's go tweaks. Let's remove. Let's see if it can get all of them. All right, now what happens if I go to power CPL? Ah, it almost got it. Let's hit it one more time. Okay. Really installed it. It's kind of weird how this this works. Okay, so that's better now. So let's go add and activate. Plan installed and activated. So then test it out one more time. Okay, that works. The weird part about this, let's say you go add and activate again. If you look here, it's just how it does the plans. It just like adds the plan like a bunch of times. Anywho, I thought that was kind of funny. I don't feel like messing with it today. It does work though. So if you click the button a bunch, it'll just install a bunch of plans. Power plans are bloat. Hey, it's true. Like if you use the power management here in the settings menu, let's see, where's power? Give me some power actions. Sleep. Energy recommendations. Ah. Set up a power mode for best efficiency.
The dude abides.
It's pretty cool. That one dude, thanks for the sub, man. 12 months, officially a year. Hell yeah. Turn off screen after 3 minutes. Wow. Oh, they removed it. Maybe for me criticizing them. I doubt it. I don't have that much power. So they used to have like, we use green energy and all this other crap. It was hilarious. It was such crap. It was like this little leaf icon. It was like, we try and save the planet and hug the trees. And I'm like, bro, Windows uses more power than any other operating system in existence. You cannot put that on your Windows updates. Specifically because to run the Windows updates, you have to leave your damn system on. And if you just turn it off, you're going to save plenty of time. So, I don't know. Yeah. Whatevs. We're good. Next. Error handling in UI. I always love these. Always love error handling in UI changes. Set WinUtil taskbar item. So this is the reset functions. Let's reset the network and see what happens. I think that'll be good. Overlay check mark. Install Coco. DSM. That's a sys repair. Yeah, that's cool. Easy changes. Let's test. Let's test the network. Yeah, we'll do network fixes. That's a good one to just run every once in a while anyways. Oh, damn. Did I break my install? Okay, good. Oh, defragler. I remember when people used to defrag crap. Who has a standard drive these days, though? Like, who actually uses spinning platter in Windows? Nobody. Maybe for like a data partition or like mass storage of like maybe old games or some crap. But I don't know. I just don't see that being used very much. Yeah, just for my backup. But yeah, there's probably some people out there still rocking it. But I mean, think of like NVMe's, SSDs, they're just everywhere and so cheap. Yeah. Backup drives are good. I have a couple in my system for backup. All right, we were testing network reset, right? Let's reset our network. Seemed okay. Let's reset Windows Update. Well, that didn't work. Let's do WinGet reinstall. Okay. Reset Win Update didn't work though. Mental note. Just not feeling like it today. I'm feeling lazy. Moving on. Add addition to toggle multiplane overlay. That sounds fancy. Feature introduced in Windows 8.1, which causes issues with GPUs. Huh. Feature request. Let's see what that entails. Huh. A toggle. Man, I don't know. That's pretty niche. That's a little too niche of a fix. I just see people disabling that and causing more issues than solving. He's drafted up. Oh, Outlook new. Yeah, probably good. Menu show delay. Should just be like 400 milliseconds for the show delay. Oh, that's wrong. Should be 400 right there, yep. That is absolutely correct. Good catch there, Drift. Boom. Look at me, I still remembered. I still remember the milliseconds for show delay. I think we had a regression, actually. I think I remember seeing that PR long ago. Someone probably just patched it. I'm like, how did that happen? Podman desktop. Who the hell's running Podman in Windows? Anybody? Podman, Windows, what do you guys think? Is SSD... How much are SSDs now? What's Podman? It's like Docker, but Red Hat based. I think I'm going to close this one. A little too obscure for a Windows user. Who wants a little Red Hat Podman action in their Windows? That just sounds weird. Ew. Gross. Ooh, gross. That is so weird. It works with Kubernetes too. For containers. I actually use, I think Podman's a pretty integral part of Chrome OS, if I'm not mistaken. Or I'm thinking LXC, actually. Anyways. Probably a little too niche. It's an alternative to Docker Desktop. Did we have anybody in chat use it in Windows? Yeah, I don't think anybody. So happy with J. Kula Hyperland. Nice. Nice. I like it, Jay Gussie. Yeah, it's a solid one, man. My Hyperland now is pretty minimal. I still like J. Kulit's better. Most people like J. Kulit's better. Has all the fixins and hotkeys and like help guides and stuff. That's just he did such a good job. Kudos to him. Time to add Rancher. A podcast program or something? Yeah, no. I think this is too niche. A little too niche for Windows desktop users. Close. Alright, moving on. Remove Skype. Skype's still around? It was on the app list? Oh yeah. Goodbye. Goodbye. Definitely approved. Yes, sir. Next. Separate removal of home gallery from Explorer. Refactor tweak. Separates the removal of home and gallery and horror icon for people who prefer to keep the gallery but not home, or the other way around. Huh. Maybe I'm being a boomer here, but what the hell was home and gallery? The gallery? Home. Do people actually use these? Anybody in chat use home and gallery in Windows? Oh, Skype transition to Teams. Fitting. Nope, nope, never used it. Nope, 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 nope. Man. Okay, cool. Just making sure I didn't have like a boomer moment where I'm like, oh, home and gallery. I just hotkey the crap I actually want to click on. And home's kind of worthless because you can't go up. So often what I do is I click my user and then I navigate from my user. And then I'm like, oh, well, actually I need to go up one more. And then it actually pushes. Why doesn't that push me into C drive? Oh, Windows, 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 Windows. What are you doing? Lame. Is that really a thing? Oh, that's so stupid. Microsoft. Ah. I pinned my home folder, and then on the recent update, they've broke this now too. You can't go up into the C drive, which would be C users, by the way. It now just takes you to home. That is not correct. Some vibe coded shit from Microsoft probably caused that. Oh my god. Every time I use this fucking operating system, I cannot believe they've been able to make $1 trillion. It's fucking incompetent bullshit. Why? Whatever. I'm gonna make more money off of this because they just suck. Okay. Mental note. One more thing to fix that Microsoft broke. It's so dumb. It's just so dumb. Anywho, what do we got here? Nails. Remove home. Remove gallery. Yes, there's somebody out there that uses this. I don't see an issue with it. I'll allow it. Let's go. Millennial coders. Hey, technically I'm a millennial. I'm an elder millennial. I think I hit the cusp by like a year. I'll be 33 this year. Congrats, Rux. 33 is a good age. Although, you know what? I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I really didn't enjoy my 30s. You know? I was like grinding out, working like a dog. I just did not enjoy my 30s at all. My 20s were fun, but my 30s, no, not so much. It was a dark days in my 30s, man. My 40s, I am absolutely enjoying. 40s have been the best time of my entire life. Hands down. I have loved 40 plus. Absolutely incredible. Highly recommend. As long as you put in the work in your 30s, I think your 40s are amazing. There's a lot of my friends that are absolutely having the worst time in their life in their 40s. So mileage will vary here. But for me, man, I have just been loving 40 plus. Absolutely amazing. Dude, just the best ever. Fun. My 20s were full of dead-end jobs. I would not say I was very successful in my 20s. However, I had a lot of fun in my 20s. And, you know, I would say I don't, you know, miss my 20s. But I don't regret my 20s either. It was a fun time. Build Windows from scratch. No, sir. Yeah, money isn't everything. But usually people with money say money isn't everything. It's like a catch-22. Yeah, money is not everything as long as you have enough of it. I think that's the rest of the quote. Money isn't everything as long as you have enough of it. I think it's good. Having said that, I've been broke before, and I'm going to say money definitely helps with happiness in some regards, especially when it comes to eating. So some people say, hey, I'm broke, and they just kind of throw that term around. To me, the definition of broke is you cannot afford 3 square meals a day, meaning you cannot eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Then your ass is broke. You know, I remember going into work and cleaning out the fridge at work, the community fridge, because, you know, they throw out plenty of food at the end of the day, free food. And that's what you did. I was just broke. I could not afford to eat. And I was like, oh, I'll just go into work and clean out the fridge. I was that guy. And to a certain extent, there's like reminiscences of that kind of still around. Like, I'll go into work. Even now, I have plenty of money. I have all the things are fine. But even still today, when I see a whole bunch of food leftovers, I'm like, I'm going to take those. I'm 37 in February. Haven't had the best time, but I just got accepted a job at FedEx as a custom service agent. Oh, awesome. WFA, only dealing with imports and exports, not contacting customers. Great. Customer service, oof. Amazing coworkers in customer service, but God bless, there are some absolute degenerate people you have to deal with customer service. My hat is off to any service worker out there. Anything dealing with customer service and just service in general, you know, waiters, all that. Ugh. I always look at that. A lot of people don't realize this. One of the guy that essentially replaced me at my day job, that I've trained up, amazing. And he had like pretty good qualifications from a tech perspective on his application. But there's one thing he put on his application that stood out to me and why I picked him over like 20 other applicants. And this is the most asinine thing, and you're going to think, Titus, that's crazy. But it's this. He used to work at Saltgrass as a server. And Saltgrass is like not like a fancy steak restaurant, but it's still like a steak restaurant here in the United States. So you have to deal with some very trying customers, I'm sure, during that thing. And when I saw he was working as a server at Saltgrass as like one of his first jobs, I immediately was like, I want to interview this guy. I bet he could talk to people. And that's what I actually brought him in for. His resume wasn't the most impressive. It did not have like the most technically knowledgeable out of the people I interviewed. But I knew after interviewing him, one, he had the people skills, and two, he was very trainable to where I'd be like, hey, learn this, learn that. And I could just point him to the spot and then he could just pick it up and I wouldn't have to repeat myself a whole bunch. And sure enough, man, it just was a perfect fit. And I was like, this is awesome. But the one thing that stood out on his application, that why I was like, yes, we need to call him, was he worked as a server at Saltgrass. And believe it or not, most people would omit that or not put it on an application. And to me, it was amazing because most things in tech, it's hard to find someone that can actually talk to a person. The more you know. I would love to be a fly on the wall and see where you work in a call center for Microsoft, talking to people how to fix their Windows. Oh my gosh, that would be fun. I would love to do that for a day. Do some progress. Oh, me progress. What was I doing? Do you remember? Oh, that's right. We were squashing and merging that. Sure. Let's just do that and try it out, shall we? We'll do that. I'd get fired in the first day at Microsoft call center. Oh, probably. I don't know. I might have fun with that job. It's hard to say, really. Hard to say what would happen. It could be fun. Could be fun. I bet Microsoft's a fun place. Pretty chill place to work. What were we testing? I think it was under tweaks, and was it remove gallery? Remove. Run tweak, yes. All right, and then we open that up. Gallery is removed. Perfect. And then we shall remove the home. Remove home. Run tweak. Done. And now home is removed. Yay. Okay, cool. Cool. That works. I worked Apple support for 5 years. Oh my god. That would be rough, Nav. Dealing with the Apple fanboys that come in there. Oh, that's a rough clientele. Yikes. I don't think... although Apple would be fun to work for, I don't think I could work the customer service facing side of Apple. I think a lot of the Apple users that you deal with would be... Nah, I'd rather deal with a Windows-based user, I want to say, on that side of things. From a customer service pointing perspective. I think the only other worst thing would be dealing with Linux users from a support perspective. Supporting Linux would be the worst out of all three. I know Linux users might take offense to that, but think about it. Like, out of all the things, like, someone finally calls support that uses Linux, God knows what they've done to their system before they called you. And God knows what their configuration is on their system. It could be 1,000 different things. Linux would be absolutely the worst system to support. Ugh. Could you imagine? That would be rough. What's x64? It's a debugger for Windows. A little too niche. Too niche. I worked in a pie bakery for 8 years. Woo. My first job was at Providence Health and Services direct help desk for doctors and caregivers. Ugh. It was okay until a caseworker used me as a sounding board for a child abuse case they were working on. Ah, bro, that's rough. One of my good friends from like elementary school, I still chat with him all the time. He worked as an EMT, which was a emergency driver, and or ambulance driver slash that. And dude, some of the stuff he saw, like, and we're like good friends. So of course, me like an idiot goes, all right, tell me the worst thing you ever encountered as an EMT. I don't know what I was thinking. That was an awful idea. Because it was just some horrific shit. Like, I thought that was just only in the movies kind of shit. From young people committing suicide to child abuse to all kinds of just great, like, car accidents involving, of course, everybody from small to young. You can imagine. Not a great idea. Never ask that question. It's just nothing good can ever come from it. So don't ever ask an EMT person, hey, what's the worst thing that's ever happened? It's like asking a soldier, hey, tell me about the most effed up stuff you've ever had while you're at war. It's just not a good idea. Yeah, that's just awful. I'm a bit daft sometimes, I gotta tell you. That was just stupid. I went right along with a buddy at Sheriff. We rode up on an accident one night. Whoa, lordy. Yeah. And a probation officer, I could totally see it. It's no joke, man. There's some really messed up people out there. I totally was just naive and oblivious to much of that, I think. It's wild. It's wild what those guys have to go with. My hat is off to anybody that has to do EMT, health services, all that. There's just crazy, soldiers as well. Like, that's another thing. I've had friends that served in the military for, 6 years, and man, PTSD is a real thing. And that happens also in as an EMT, also as doctors and stuff, that all that, it does carry over to all those professions too. It's wild. Yeah. Depression. Yeah, but seek help, man. There's people out there that can help, but it's still, a lot of people don't understand what they have to go through. And my hat's off to anybody that does that type of work. All right. Keep going. Let's see. What do we have? We're almost at the end. Update Copilot removal. This is actually a video someone sent me with some of these tweaks in it, I believe. It happened actually last stream, and was it like Sergio or God, what was his name? Oh, let's go to my subscriptions. Don't judge me. We're gonna hit my subscriptions. Subscriptions. Do they not have a subscriptions page anymore? Subscriptions. Weird. Couldn't click on it in a list format. Nope. Nope. All right. Why do they not alphabetize the subscriptions? It drives me crazy. All right. He was in here somewhere. Well. Shorts is on again. What the hell? 1 second. Hide shorts. Enhancer for YouTube's what I use. You can hide shorts this way. Pretty good. Let's hide related. Videos per row. Let's go 4. I feel like that's pretty good. All right, great. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Ah, cyber CPU tech. That's it. Yes. So this was it. And see, did he put it in the description? Man, I miss the days of YouTube when they put it in the description. You know, the tweaks. Or have like a guide. I always try and do like a web page with all the tweaks that I'm going to do. Yeah, okay. What we got here? So on this one. Yeah, okay.
32-bit value, and from here I'm going to go ahead and type in disable search box suggestions, exactly like I have it typed out right here. Now I went ahead and just pasted it from my clipboard.
All right, here we
just
go.
go ahead and copy it from the screen right here. It's disable search box suggestions with the same capitalization that I'm using. And then from here, once you create it, you're
that's not really needed. We got
okay. And at that point, you can go ahead and close the registry editor. And then from here, there's one more change that we need to make also, because as you know, the widgets panel does exactly. We're going to go into software, and then from software we want to go down into policies.
What's the next one?
And then from policies we want to open Microsoft, then Windows, and then the next section is Windows AI. But as you can see, we have no Windows AI setting in here. You may have it on your system, but if you don't, what you're going to want to do is just go ahead and right click and hit new key, and then for that new key you want to name it Windows AI with no spaces, and go ahead and hit enter. And then from there, we want to go into this white area. Once you have Windows AI selected, we want to go into the blank area on the right, and we want to right click and hit new DWORD 32-bit value. And then the first one is going to be disable AI data analysis. And go ahead and copy what I have right here. It should be exactly like this: disable AI data analysis, no spaces, and make sure to capitalize each word. And then from there, once you create that, you want to open it up and you want to change the value to 1 and hit OK. And then the next one you're going to want to do, you want to go ahead and right click again, hit new DWORD 32-bit value, and then you want to create the key that says allow recall enablement. Now this is going to be exactly like I have it typed right here, with no spaces and capitalize each word. It should be allow recall enablement. And then from there, once you create it, you want to go ahead and leave this to 0. And what this is going to do is it's not going to allow recall enablement. So it's kind of...
I like those changes. Let's see what we got over here. Oh, I don't see it over here. Let's just pull up. Do we have code? Yeah, we got code. Let's pin old code. Put that over here. Close that. Close that. Yep. All right. Trust. Mark done. Do we have... 1 second. I gotta sign in. Man, it's been so long it signed me out of everything. Let me do a sync. Sync it. All right. Turn on cloud changes. Sign in. Yep. All right. Great. And do we have any others? Okay, settings sync on, sign in, chaining, GitHub's in, extension, we'll restart, and we're good to go. All right. Now we can do our stuff. I think I got rid of Git lens though. Oh well, whatever. Let's go open folder. We're going to go into GitHub, pull in WinUtil, select. Yes. Now, let's look for that key. Now, he was using Windows AI under local machine, software policies, Microsoft Windows AI. I want to see. Let's go to Google, and we're gonna go local machine / software / Windows. Oh, actually, Microsoft Windows. Was there policies or no policies? Oh, yeah. This is policies under software. Yeah. Policies. Windows AI. All right. Alrighty, let's see what we got. Disable AI analysis. Disable AI analysis. Cyber CPU actually pulled in another one. So, let's see what we have in the toolbox already. Don't want to repeat. All right, there's the tweaks JSON. So this is under recall. We got disable AI analysis. What's this other tweak he says to do? It's kind of interesting. So allow recall enablement. All right. That's a GPO, but reg file. Okay. Allow recall enablement. Let's make that a 0, please. All right, and disable AI data analysis 1. Perfect. What else do we have?
Backwards. And then from here, you can go ahead and close the registry editor, and you're gonna wanna go ahead and open up control panels. And you should be able to do that just by clicking the start menu and typing. And then we want to go into policies. So go ahead and scroll down right here until you find policies. Now, all of this should be alphabetical. And then from here, we want to scroll down until we find paint. And as you can see, we have no paint here. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to right click.
Oh, this was like the paint tweak.
In turn, remove the Copilot button.
Just
remove the whole app. But if we still want paint, I could be wrong. So like I said, uses AI in order to try to determine which apps are legitimate and which apps aren't. So if you want to remove all AI from Windows, it's going to require turning this feature off. Now from this point, we can go ahead and close that once it's off.
Smart app control.
Kind of extreme. However, if you do maybe nitpicking a little, but turn it back on again. But the smart as Windows Hello uses AI. Now there's a couple account you will in turn be Office. Now
smart app control. Let's see. Okay, that was about it. That's funny. It's under CI protected, huh? Huh. Smart App Control in Windows 11 is a security feature that helps protect users from malicious and untrusted apps. It can be controlled through Windows Security app or through the registry. Probably would add this as well into here. We'll put it in the recall. Same thing, except we're going to current control set from system from local machine. All right, good to know. So we're going to go HKLM. And we're going to change that a little bit. I believe under policies, that should be... no, we're actually going to go system concurrent control set. Let's double check that, shall we? It's not that I don't trust AI, it's that I don't trust AI. I could just see that going terribly wrong. All right, yes. So here's our HKLM. We're going to go system, CI policy. This is going to be verified reputation state 1. That's to turn it on. To turn it off, it's going to be 0. All right, good. Good to know. So here we are. We're going to take this guy. Now we're going to have to escape out those backslashes. All right. Escape those out. And let's expand this a little bit. Perfection. All right, I think that's all good. We'll just do the tweaks recall off for disabling recall. We're going to do smart app completely off. We also added the allow recall enablement. I believe this one's coming in 25H2 and smart app. I don't think, what's this version? We're in 24H2 right now. Let's see if smart app's in here. I think it is. Smart app. It's off, yeah. So that's good. Let's double check this and see if it's anywhere else in here. Nope, it's not. Great. All right, cool. Let's compile this. Rerun. I know we kind of deviated from the PR. I just wanted to expand the PR. So I was like, hey, I think there's a couple other keys we're missing. So let's pull up to date. And we're going to do a compile run. And we'll just make sure we're not getting any errors on the tweak. Disable recall. Where you at? 3 tweaks done. You can see that in the background. So we're doing the expanding out to Windows AI, allow recall enable it to 0. We're also expanding smart app with verified and reputable policy state to 0 to disable smart app. And that is looking good. Expand, disable recall, and smart app off. All right, that's good to go. Now, I feel that's enough. Let's come back to conversation view. We're going to need to do a refresh here just to make sure we're not having any issues. Now, for the shell, we have shell copilot disables for expanding it out. Good Lord. Just, it's like a virus that's just infecting every little microcosm of Windows everywhere. Awful. Absolutely awful. Let's submit this. I do want that CI to run one more time. Days ago. Let's rerun this job. Just want to double check it. AI human vibing. I think AI is fine. You just got to double check things. I like it for the ideas it gives me. I think it does give some good ideas in different ways of thinking, but often it is wrong. I think too many people just like a blanket trust it, which is nuts. It's like, what are you doing? It's not like the demon. Some people like there's obviously Luddites that are like, oh no AI, absolutely none, it's awful. And then there's people who are like the AI bros that are like, AI is going to take everybody's job. It's amazing. And really, the truth is like well in between that. It's just simply a really good autocorrect. Smarter autocorrect, but it's still autocorrect, so it's just going to make some shit up. And be like, hey, this is kind of what I think based on everybody else's passcode. It might be this. And just kind of tosses it up. And it sounds really convincing. But again, it's just autocorrect. It's not like smart. You know? And that's what the beauty of it is. As long as you treat it that way and go, oh, that looks pretty good. Let me just double check that. And you test it. It's really not. It does help and it does save time. As long as you know that going into it. It's just so many hype men have just bastardized it and told people a lot of things that it just simply is not. You know? I think this is fine. What did this get tone under? Disable Microsoft Copilot. Do we have two different Copilots? What is the command lazy G? Git space add space period to add everything that's been changed or added to the Git repo. And then it does a git commit message, which adds $1, which will be the external so lazy G space, and then whatever I put in the quotes, that's going to be the message that gets inserted into the git commit. So then it adds the files, it commits the files, and then finally it does a git push. So lazy G is just me being lazy and combining those three commands in one command. You probably shouldn't do it that way. But it does work and it's fast. All right. Do we... I swear we have Copilot in here twice. Look for the Copilot. Okay, you have recall. And then you have Copilot. I feel like we combine these two. What do we think? Combining Copilot and recall. I mean, they're two different things, but it's like part of the same system, though. I just feel... I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't use Copilot or recall. They both seem terrible to have on a system. Let me look at this PR one more time. Copilot has really expanded. So he's just updating that. This is fine. This is totally okay. But I don't know. Let's squash and merge this. Yeah, keep it separate. The only reason I'm keeping it separate, so the reason I keep these separate between Copilot and Recall is simply because, one, I think you shouldn't use either. I think, especially from a OS perspective, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But the reason why I'm hesitant to just combine them in one and just say, hey, just get rid of this garbage, is because I could see a future, knowing Microsoft's past track record, and they want to just ram this shit down your throat. I could see them making Copilot a dependency on a bunch of stuff, to where if it's not there, that application just stops working. Like, I could see a good future, or a dystopian future. Honestly, I think we're kind of already living in it, but where Visual Studio Community Edition has dependencies on Copilot, and if Copilot's not there, Visual Studio just won't launch or just throw errors and cause all kinds of issues. So I think We have to leave those separated, and Copilot will become dependencies for many Microsoft applications, probably even the Microsoft Office suite as well in the future. So I think we have to leave them separated and then just have these policies and just kind of keep an eye on it. Because we see Copilot kind of expanding and more policies come into the space, more entries need to be happen to have it disabled. And eventually I think it's going to get to the point, much like Edge has gotten to the point where it's just, you're better off not uninstalling it because it's just so dependent. And if you don't want to use those things, just use Mac or Linux. And I think here in the next year or two, that will be true. So we shall leave them separate based on Microsoft's track record and kind of what we see happening in the future. Yay. All right. Me and my positive vibes here. Positive vibes, Chris. Positive vibes. All right, let's go. Let's go. Got that. Let's pull this down, test it out. We've gotten pretty good. I think most these there's a couple drafts in here. I don't know about some of these tweaks. I think I'll probably close out. I still want to do something with this set services to manual, but I think that's just like an entire independent stream on its own. And fixing credentials needs to happen as well. I just don't know about this fix for credentials. And I think that also needs a lot more quality QC, basically, quality control. And then the time date, I just don't like the formatting here on this one. Multiplane might be too niche to actually add as a tweak. So I'm kind of hesitant to merge that one. And then this is it. So these are two drafts, and that's kind of like my feedback on the rest of these PRs. That's why I haven't merged those. But I feel like I'm getting a lot better with just overall project management of WinUtil. We're in a really, really good spot. And I kind of like have a way where, you know, some of these things we might end up closing out. I just want like more feedback from users and not users, but more developers. And then probably leave these for maybe a month or two and then determine, hey, did these ever bake fully or shall we just close them out? And some of these I think just need a little more time to bake. And some of them we might end up just closing and redoing. But again, it's kind of like, I need to test a lot of it though. They're going to take a lot longer time. Let's finish with a test here and see what this looks like. And get pull. And we're going to disable our old Copilot. Would you ever trust a self-driving car? Maybe. Yeah, I think eventually. I mean, there's some crazy-ass drivers out there already. And I think a lot of the self-driving's better than those people. So, you know, probably. I don't think they're perfect. You know, they aren't what people say they are, but they're also not the worst thing ever. There's plenty of really bad drivers out there that probably shouldn't be on the road. So I think they'll keep getting better, and I could see a future where I'll take a self-driving like Waymo or whatever the hell it's called. It'll be probably a while till it gets into my city though. Although not too bad. Texas with Tesla and stuff nearby, maybe. I don't know. I'm kind of old school though. On a lot of my car's, geez, almost 12 years old now. I kind of like just owning my own car and driving my car, where I did like I ripped out the dash and redid it with like my specific deck, and it does like my wireless Android Auto and stuff like that. And I'm like, I just don't know about where there's such a shift, I feel like it's happening in the auto space, and I don't know where it's going to go. I'm not convinced that full electric is the way to go, I feel like there's a happy medium where like it's going to be a hybrid type setup would probably be more practical for most people. I don't know. The thing I guess I see about it is right now there's like this monopoly of like oil and gas, right? But then if you go to the electric side of things, all the chargers are pretty much controlled by Tesla. They are the one that built out almost all of the infrastructure. So that's almost like a monopoly on itself. And if enough cars get on that, I could just see the rates just getting, they could gouge you or just completely get you wherever they want because there's just not enough competition. There's not enough diversity in the market. So I don't think there's a competitive market to drive prices down. So what's keeping them from taking advantage of the user? And one could say the same can be done in oil and gas, but it's such a more tenured market with different competitors where the electric just doesn't have that. So I don't know, man. It's a weird system. It's a weird system. I'm not sure where that's headed. And I noticed I get really frustrated with new cars. Like a lot of it is just very much out of your control, and there's so much proprietary baked in garbage in most new cars. They almost are set on the iPhone Android model now, where when you buy a car, a lot of like Android Auto, CarPlay, all that, essentially that car will break itself and not continually get updates. In like 4 or 5 years, if you like that feature, you essentially have to go buy another car or trade your current one in for another one. And I don't like that. And my wife, we got her a car at the worst time because a kid wrecked into her car, so we had to get a new car. And because she had a 2010, and she loved that car. And then she got this new Nissan that's a 2022. I gotta say, that car sucks. It's awful. And like the visors are already breaking. Like we've already had 2 of them break, and I'm having to replace them. And I know this sounds like an old man thing where you're just like, they just don't build them like they used to. But they really don't. I think a lot of the newer cars are just built really, really bad. To the point where I feel like the best year of car you can buy right now is sometime in like the mid 2010s. Right as you have this transition to some electrical, specifically like a push button start. Right as that happens, where you have the backup cameras and the push button starts, is probably the pinnacle of car technology. And we've only seen backsliding and more proprietary and more corporate greed since those technologies in the car space entered. And I feel like every car since then has gotten worse, where you're going to have to buy a car sooner. They're going to last not as long. They're not going to have as many features. They're not going to be as repairable. And it's just overall a worse consumer experience. So, I don't know. I look at that, I'm like, I think I'm going to just stay on my car as long as I possibly can. Yeah. Yeah, we'd have flying cars. Yeah, ugh, that's probably never going to happen. Is it a Nissan Kick? Those are so awful. It is a Nissan Kick, Huz. My brother has one and it's giving him problems since he got it. Yep. It is a Nissan Kick. Good call, man. My 2023 Chevy Bolt's pretty solid. Yeah. I had a good experience with a Chevy. Oh God, what? I think it was a Chevy Cobalt back in 2000, late 2008. I want to say. I think it was 2000. No, it was 2006, 2007. Chevy Cobalt. I think that was a solid Chevy. That was the last Chevy I owned. It was nice. In my 20s, I had good experiences with that car. It was a good car. Yeah, Toyota's always a solid one. I like Toyotas. They've always driven well for me too. Like most people don't even realize, Toyota controls so many different manufacturers. Like they have the Scion branches. Lexus is just basically a rebranded fancy Toyota. Um, yeah. So Toyotas are always solid, but I would just buy a Toyota. You don't have to pay the extra premium. It's kind of funny. Let's see. I think this is good. All right, we're in a good spot with WinUtil. We talked a little bit about the home page. I feel like that's pretty good. I think that's a pretty productive day, guys. That was pretty solid. And we got a little chat on the vehicle side of things. We got a little chat on other things. Any other big news? I don't think there is. I think we're in a pretty good shape. WinUtil's got a bunch of new PRs merged in. That's been awesome. Man, we're cooking. Is there a way to completely remove Windows Start? I don't know. Probably not. Like there's a certain point at where you have this. When it comes to Windows, I will say, let me leave you with this. When it comes to Windows, there is a point where debloating and removing more stuff from Windows is more trouble than it's worth. At that point, you should be looking at different operating systems than debloating. So what I'm saying is, yes, there probably is a way to remove all these things. There's ways to accomplish pretty much anything you can think up, but at what cost? And most times when you go with like extreme debloats and you remove a lot of stuff from Windows, it ends up being a worse experience because software won't work. It won't update properly. You won't have adequate protection. So if you don't like Windows and you don't like the base Windows experience, I encourage you to try a different operating system because Windows isn't great. Now, having said all that, there are some caveats I want to carve out really fast. And there's a project. Oh God, let me see. Is that still in my? Where is that? Oh no. No, there's a project. Let me see if I can find that damn thing that I wanted to show. It was amazing. And what was it? Games Dos. Let me see if I can't copy this link. Yeah. So I thought about doing a video on this. This is Game Dos. Boots directly into Steam Big Picture or Play Night without displaying any Explorer UI elements. Game Dos is intended to emulate SteamOS's game mode more carefully. And I know some people are always like, oh, just use Linux and use SteamOS and all this other crap. But SteamOS just kind of isn't great for some games. And it's just never going to be because publishers just don't want to use Linux or don't want to support Linux more likely. And especially competitive shooters and other things. It just doesn't work. This fits a niche and something to where I think this is a viable thing for games. If you just want to make like a home theater PC, Windows based, or let's say the hardware just isn't conducive of Linux. Let's say you have a really nice NVIDIA card in it, and you really want to just boot directly in. NVIDIA doesn't work great with SteamOS or SteamOS forks. Even Bazite, it's still not great. Where this would be a much better user experience. So, I want to do kind of a video on this where it boots directly in and it kind of changes the look and feel of Windows, stripping, probably do a little bit extra on top of this, strip it down, have this as the boot in process. So maybe do like a micro-win base and then install this on top of it. And then you have like a perfect home theater PC for just gaming. And you're still in the Windows environment without having to deal with a lot of the Windows shenanigans. So, just some ideas. And ideas. I've taken a look at it, WinHawk. It's not bad. Yeah. So, that's it. don't know if you answered this question. Can we add a category for privacy-based softwares to WinUtil? No. Absolutely not. Privacy-oriented software in Windows is a myth. It's kind of a crazy community, the privacy security community. And most people, probably 90% of the people in that community, are either nut jobs or just really stupid. And I can't condone it. And I don't like talking about privacy or security because there's people out there that think you can be private and secure and use Windows. Absolutely false. You can't. You can mitigate it a little bit, but you're never going to be private and secure on Windows. That is just such a laughable statement, and one I want to just dispel right here and now. And adding privacy and security software into WinUtil is just playing into these crazy people, and I just don't want to deal with them. And yeah. I don't even know what software it is, but whenever I look at it, it probably just make me go, ugh, cringe. Most of it's really cringe. Most of it's just predatory. You're just taking advantage of stupid people for a lot of privacy and security-based Windows software, in my opinion. There's not very many good ones out there, but God, I just remember, God, you remember like Zone Alarm and all those other like weird internet security suites. For anything that has internet security suite attached to it is just a scam at this point. It's just how it is. Yeah, VPNs are great. You know, if you want to use torrents and stuff and download music without getting a nasty letter from your ISP, that's a good idea. Is it private? Is it secure? Not really. It just changes where you're coming out from. It's not like the government's not going to find you from doing that. So I wouldn't call it private or secure. I would say one caveat to that is if you are using a VPN, it can increase security if you're on like a private or a public network. You know, like you're at a Starbucks or maybe a hotel that has a large one. Using a VPN is a good idea. Filtering all your traffic through a VPN is just incredibly stupid, in my opinion, especially like these big dog. Hell, they're all owned by the same freaking company. Private Internet Access, NordVPN. All these ones, they feed into like 2 or 3 different entities. Cape Technologies, look them up. They own almost all of them. Amazing rips, by the way, when I chill them. ExpressVPN, all of them. You really want to filter all of your private and secure traffic to these people? What are they doing with that data? There is data. You know that, right? Oh, it's a no-log VPN, Titus. Come on. Are you really that naive? Anyways, I want to leave you guys with that. You know, VPNs can be good for certain things. Man, I just don't like the word private or secure. I know that's great, but man, it just hurts my soul. It really does. Yeah, obscurity tool. I like that. D135, agreed. VPNs are an obscurity pool. That's pretty much it. And that's, I think, where we can leave that. Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, that's just, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, if you are in the private security route and you're not liking what I'm saying, the first thing you need to look at, this guy right here. This phone is betraying you way more than anything you're doing on your computer. This guy is the ultimate privacy and security nightmare. Get rid of Android, get rid of iOS. And you might be thinking, how the hell you do that? Dumb phones, man. That's the closest thing you can do. You now have reduced your privacy and security footprint, but probably by like 300 or 400%. Just by getting rid of your phone. Your smartphone is such an invasion of privacy, such a security and just privacy nightmare all over. And I know that sounds crazy. Let me get my tinfoil hat on, but it's the truth. It is doing way more than anything you're going to look up on your PC. Just saying. Graphene OS, yeah. Graphene OS, Calyx OS. I've used other dumb phones too that have like their own OS. I think last one I used was... It was a company from Switzerland, actually. Punkt. P-U-N-K-T. It's a really, really dumb phone, though. It's like going back to the 90s. Like, straight up. Like, I think the Nokia phone from the 90s actually had more features than that phone. So, watch out. Anyways. I'll leave you guys with that. See you all in the next live stream. Probably sometime. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. But I do need to get a video out soon. So, I'll probably do a video and then probably a live stream. So, probably next week sometime is when the next live stream will be. And y'all have a good one. Peace. Drop off YouTube.